So I guess from here at this point, I wanted to like do the way I've been doing it as far as like how I'm breaking down the prompt. But do you have a certain way you like problem solving technique on a higher level?
Yeah. So obviously we do the problem first and understand like what they want, right? So you could take notes on like what is specifically asking you. Like, so like what are the inputs? What are like examples of inputs that like this function will take in, and then what are examples that the function will return?
Okay.
And then like from those examples, I'll see the pattern within it, you know. So like I can see, oh, you know, I'll have to do this with the inputs and that, and then I like making my algorithm from there.
Copy. Yeah, I have something similar to that. I basically just write it out. Like so I have this thing called input process, and think for edge cases. Hopefully I spelled that right. Output, and then at the end I do like optimizations. If I have time, like time complexities or just optimizing it. But this is kind of like similar to what you're saying. So, you know, we can start in a few seconds, but like, yeah, this is where I kind of put my inputs and kind of see what is expected, et cetera, and walk through the process from there. Take notes. So that's cool. All right, Bess, I'm gonna read this real quick out loud, and we can start kicking it and see how we can solve it, I guess.
Oh no, I was already saying like I read through it and I was already like thinking of two ways to solve it.
Your task is to make two functions, max and min, maximum and minimum in PHP and Python. Wait, this is JavaScript, right? Okay, yeah. Maximum and minimum in PHP and Python. Maxi and Mini and Julia. Take an array, vector of integers, so a list as an input and outputs respectively, the largest and lowest number in that array vector. So here's some examples.
I would say this problem was terribly written. Terribly written. It did not have to be that complicated.
Yeah, this is and then to think they bust your chops about the one you wrote. Remember that? And they accept this shit. Oh shit. Oh man, that was a good time. Okay, so you get past the list of numbers. Whenever the max functions invoked, they want us to... Okay, let me just write this down in the input. So in our input, the first example says, let me just write this here. This is gonna be max, and we get a list of numbers. Out of these list of numbers, they're saying that max... These guys wrote this poorly. It looks like they just want the maximum number out of this list, right? So we traverse through the array or iterate, and they want 566 for max. So for the output, let's do it like this. So for max output, the max number, right? Am I reading that right? Right? All right, and vice versa. For the min, they want to list the minimum number. Okay, write it down. So for min, output the min number. So those are the outputs. I'm already thinking about what happens for an edge case if we get an empty array. What do they want? Because they didn't say anything about that. Because like they give you a sample test, but they have these hidden tests in the background that may throw us a snag. But so that's an edge case.
Oh no, go ahead.
Now you was gonna say something? Go ahead.
Since they didn't specifically, I usually wouldn't even like bother. But if it was failing, I'd just like return undefined or something like that. You know.
Gotcha.
There's no number, like even zero or something.
All right, cool. Yeah, I will not worry about it. I just list it, like write it down so I can like keep it in the back of my head at the very least. All right, so your task is to make two functions. Which one was called? Just spit out the max or the min. All right, best. Let me see. What else do I need to account for? Returns 5, min returns 0. Would you say I would have to provide more examples of this? I mean, the min is pretty self-explanatory.
They had an interesting example. There was only one number in the array.
The 5. Okay.
I think it was 5.
Yeah, let me put that down here. And that was for a max, right? So an example of this, which is the only number by default, if it's one number, so I think either if it's max or even if it's min, it's the sole number, it just return that number because that's the only one inside the array, right? So we have something like that, and we start to iterate here. So to your point about the interesting example of the max and min, whichever test, unit test is passed in, and whichever function they call that, being that it's a sole number, it'll just return that number because that's just the only one. It could be max or min, depending on what they call. All right, so I don't know if there's any other examples that I should be considering just going off what they have. The others are pretty self-explanatory, and I guess I run into it if it happens when I run the test. If something comes up, I just deal with it from there. So methods to consider to help. I don't know, like I could probably use method to help me do it ASAP, but I want to kind of just consider like the naive way first, and then maybe when I optimize, if we have time, I can do it like if there's a much more slicker way, and maybe you can help me with that too, like, you know, one of those array max methods.
Both ways.
Okay, I bet. Yeah, you're already ahead of me. I don't know if there's a max method, but and a min method, but I can look into that. So I don't know if that's array.max and array.min. So,
you writing in JavaScript, right?
yeah, in JavaScript, yeah. So right now I'm just like listing methods to consider, to think about. So I don't know if there's anything else that I would need to consider, but I'll come back to it if I need to. So yeah, I would be writing this in JavaScript. So because there's an array, so the naive approach, right? I would probably want to iterate through this array, right? So probably create a loop, and probably even before that, create a variable for max number so I can return it later, and then the same for min. And maybe I don't need this, but I'm just thinking about it out loud. So create a max and the min variable so I can store that, and I'll loop through the list of numbers. So I would need to kind of work through this. So I would say, let me back up a little bit here. I'm going back to line 8, right? So when I iterate, I could say that the first indices 0, right? So it'd be 4. The first number by default is going to be, so I'm gonna do the max functions first, all right? So 4 will be the largest because it's the first number. So I'll say, so I'm gonna, in the loop, I'm gonna create a variable called current num, just to make it clear for me. That's something I like to do, just to like abstract it out. Like I'm not a big fan of the whole array thing. That throws me off. I like to store it in the variable. That's a little bit more like obvious, like current num. I don't know what that does with the space complexity of it, but whatever. Honestly,
I don't think it does anything.
all right, so I grabbed the current num. I'm at 4. 4 by default would be the max because it's the first integer. Let me just walk through this. I'm at 4. I put 4 into the max variable. I move on to the next number, 6. So now some logic has to be involved that says, is 6 greater than 4? It is. Therefore, replace max num to be 6. Move on to the second one. The third number is 2 greater than max. No, it's not. Keep it moving. 1. No, keep it moving. 9 is greater than the current num. Yes. Make the swap. How does that sound? Like the walkthrough?
Sounds clean so far, man.
All right, cool. So I create the variable called num. I would how am I gonna? So what is this variable gonna be?
You don't want to write down what you just said?
I am. Yeah, I'm just kind of talking out loud first, and then I'm gonna put it down here. Does it say it wants to return a number, right? Return a, hold on, I'm going back to the CodeWars. It says notes. You
return whatever is the max.
So it's a number, right? In there? Yeah, it is. Okay. Oh, I don't know if you noticed this. Real quick, in the in CodeWars, the notes that have something that says you may consider that there will not be an empty array. I don't have to worry about this part, the edge case. So create a variable. So grab the current num. I'm going to, I only want to do this once. Like I don't want to.
Want to do what once?
So when I hit the 4, right? I only want to assign it to the max variable 1. So like if I were to say assign current num to max, so assign current num to the variable max, but like I don't want to do that on every loop. Like I don't want to come here and assign it. So I need like a starting place. You get what I'm saying? Like
I'm so glad you said that. Yeah, I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, so I'm a little. So
I would recommend. What do you want a suggestion?
Let me think. What would I do?
Because everything you have so far is clean, it's on spot, but the thing you're worried about right now is exactly the one thing you need to add.
So I'm about to get 4.
So
I think I have an idea. What I could do is create like another container of memory to say number to compare or something like that.
Yeah.
Variable, right? Is that so like I'm thinking out loud. So like when I grab this number, I put that in the number to compare, like assign it there, and when I move on to the next number, 6, which would be current num, and I do something inside the loop to the comparison between 4 and 6. Am I heading in the right direction? Like something like that?
Yeah. Can you write that? Can you write down that?
Okay.
That thing that lets you know your comparison thing.
Okay, I got you.
I think it'll help you out more with like figuring this.
Gotcha.
I don't necessarily agree with the number to compare, but it can help you out. It doesn't hurt to have it.
Gotcha. So create number.
But yeah, I think you really need to write down that compare thing you were talking about.
All right. So create a variable called current num. Then I would say so assign current num to the variable number to compare. Then I do some logic that says, so when I'm here, I make the assignment, assign it to number to compare, and then say if while I'm here, if current, yeah, that's not gonna work because I'm comparing the same number.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's greater than. I'm gonna write it out anyway. No, I was just saying I was gonna write it out anyway just to see it flushed out. Yeah, that's like, yeah, I'm basically comparing the same number from the starting point. That's the part where I get tripped up. Is that initial point there?
All right, let me ask you this. So you create the variable number to compare, right? Like before you start the loop, right?
Yes.
Okay. What value is that number?
That's gonna be nothing. I mean, because I haven't. I'm just it's just a kind of empty variable right now.
All right. So you can't. Oh, go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
I haven't assigned it anything. Maybe I could initiate it to 0 as a starting point. Would that do anything?
It could. We can do that. We can do it. It will work through it a bit later. But as long as you have a starting point. Honestly, I'm trying to see how we could like if doing this is gonna lead you in the right direction.
Okay. Let me flesh out a little more, I guess. So if I were to go ahead. All right, let me.
So we can keep numbers to compare at 0.
Okay.
But I will say you need to make sure that number to compare is assigned the value before you start the loop. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Just so you have something to compare it to. You know.
What I could probably do, assign whatever the array is called, the input. I don't know what the input is called. I can assign it the first index.
Oh, my brother's a genius. You're a genius, brother.
And then the loop, I guess I would start the loop from the second index. Or I could start it. No, because then I don't want to compare the same number. That's already dealt with when I assign it. And I can start the loop from here, from the second index, and make the comparison. Something like that. Let me see, start the loop. That starts at second index. And I create the variable current num. And then I can skip this part. I have to think about this line, but let me just see it play out. Create a variable. So if current num is greater, assuming current num is going to be the second index, or I'm sorry, the second index. If current num is greater than number to compare, and then I'm going to then assign current num to equal pair. That's the new highest number. Okay.
Why would you assign current num that?
Sorry, the other way around. Let me see. Number to compare. My bad.
Yeah.
It's gonna be max. Let me just erase this whole thing. So assign the max number to be current num, right? And then also number to compare has to change because there's a new max. But then I already kind of assigned it. Well, this is just a starting point. Like maybe this is just for the purpose of the starting point. Bet. All right. So we move on. 6 becomes the highest number. Move on to 2. Nothing happens. The loop keeps happening. Move on to 1. Nothing happens. All right. Is 1 greater than 6? No. Keep it moving.
You never changed number to compare, so it'd still be 4.
That's right. I do need to assign it. So number to compare. Okay, so once this happens, the max number will change, but also I need to reassign number to compare to current number as well. So essentially, number to compare would be, if I were to roll back a little bit, and max will be 6 as well. But max is just there so I can return it later on to the final number. So 9. All right, so in the case of 9, let me just put that this is 6 so I can just visualize it. So when I get to 9, so is current num 9 greater than number to compare, which is currently 6? Yes, it is. Assign the new max to be 9, so that happens, and the number to compare to be 9 as well. So that gets reassigned to 9. We go to 63. 63 becomes the largest. Negative 134, no. You get to 566, that's the largest number. Is 566 greater than 63? It is. So assign max number 566, that's all. Assign number to compare to be 566. I bounce out the loop, it'll be over here, then return max number, something like that.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. But so line 23 was one I was stuck on. All right, so then that makes sense.
Yeah. So are you happy with this? It looks good.
That's like a trick question, bro.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I feel confident. I mean, I would have to at a certain point just write the thing out and start logging things out and just testing it. But yeah, I feel confident that this is somewhat in the right direction. If there's a snag, I'll catch it and debug it from there.
So all right, so you don't want to say nothing.
Let me run through it again. Hold up.
No, I mean it worked.
Yeah, not.
It just did. It worked.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm gonna stop talking.
Nah. Go ahead. Tell me. Like this is the. Go ahead. Tell me what you got. Like suggestions. Like yeah. What do you think?
Let's run through the same algorithm with our second use case with that 5.
The five. Okay. So then this is kind of like very verbose for an array that has just one element. So I have to catch that up front.
I mean, like your algorithm is not wrong, right?
Okay.
I'll just say it's just one thing that you're doing that like throws off this specific use case. But for like any other use case, it would work. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. And that's for the use case of like the max 5, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let me run through it. So I get max 5, one element, all these variables are created. Let me erase that. Variable number to compare grabs 5, so we have 5 here. Oh yeah, this loop will break because there's no second in there. I mean, I could catch it up front somewhere here that says like I can do a check that says if the length of the array is 1 and just return that num, right? Return number, whatever's in that array. Kind of just catch that up front before I even hit all this stuff here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely. So that's the use case. The length of 1 for this example. Okay. And then I feel more confident about this algorithm now. All right, so I'm gonna stop and write it and then test it, then do the negative, the min one, because the min one's kind of like almost the same, just kind of like reversing it. I feel like. All right. So let me grab var max. Oh, they have this like old school way of like writing a function out here. So they want var max equals function list. Okay, let's do it. Say here off the jump if list dot length is to 1, I'll just return this right here. Say return, cool. I'll say let's max num equals 0. Then so this is actually, I don't need min for this. But, and then here would be let number to compare. We'll grab list 0. Then I'll do a for loop, create a for loop that starts at second index. So I'm gonna say for let I equals 0. And if I is less than list dot length, iterate. And what else am I doing? So I want to grab some abstraction. So current num, so that can be easier for me to read. List. Okay, so now logic kicks in. So if the current num is greater than number to compare, we're gonna assign max num to equal current num, and in the same breath reset the number to compare to equal current num. And once I bounce out the loop, I'm gonna return max num. All right, I think I got it. So I'm going to console.log this out, see what kind of result I get. How do I share this terminal with you?
All right, well, what's this function looking like?
Yeah, so basically, yeah, I just finished it. So all right, let me just walk through it. So I got the function, right, catching up the use case up front. In the event that the length is 1, which I need to test, I have to like do another thing here, invocation, so I can yeah. But we got the max num variables and the number to compare variable. I'm grabbing the first element in that list to compare. Funny enough, I just realized it. I didn't even start the iteration at index 2. I just went right from the beginning. I didn't even notice I did that, and I still got the result that I want, 566.
Yeah, honestly, that's why I would have done instead of that check there, because it doesn't really matter either way, you know.
Okay.
It doesn't matter like if you're checking the same number, you know.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. So I guess my logic was to cut down the loop a little bit. I don't know if that saves some time, but I guess not.
But it wouldn't. Well, I understand what you mean. Yeah, that probably. But then again, no, it wouldn't matter because it's only because that use case is only for one element in the loop. You know what I mean?
True.
And so you would just be running it once, regardless.
True that. But yeah, so yeah, I'm running the loop. I'm grabbing the current num, some abstraction. Here's my logic. If the current num is greater than number to compare, do the reassignments. Basically, these two reassignments that I mentioned earlier. Max num becomes current num, and then I have to reassign number to compare to the most highest number, so that in the next iteration I can compare the right numbers. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna test out the other one, the 5. So I'm gonna just do this down here and put 5 to make sure that check works. So I should get back 5 here. Do you see the terminal by any chance?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, I shared it with you, by the way, so we should have access to that too. Bet. So I'm getting 5, and that seems to work. Cool. So I'm going to be a little lazy and copy this over for min.
Facts, I was just about to say it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, bro. And then run it in CodeWars. So let me just put it under here. Call that min. Okay, and right, it's called min. Okay, cool. Min. So same thing. I guess if it's 1, we're gonna call this min num. Well, let's do this. I have this little trick I've been wanting. I can do is it a thing? There you go. Catch all the boom. Min num. You saw that?
Crazy, yeah.
Ooh. Ooh. All right.
Did you use a shortcut?
Yeah. Command D, and you keep pressing Command D. It'll highlight all of the matching references.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Your boy reads so many blogs. But anyway. So number to compare be the same. So yeah, I guess this will be reversed.
Yeah.
Right? And I think everything else kind of stays the same. I think. Let me just get a test. Make an example here. Console.log. Put that in there, and this should return 0. And let me run it. 0. Cool.
Try it with that first array you had there too. Try with this one.
This one? Okay. Let me just copy that whole thing. And comment this one out. In theory, it should be what? Negative 134?
Yeah.
I hope so. You throwing me a loop, bro? Nah, get out of here. All right.
You still have it as max.
Oh, my bad. Good catch.
Believe in yourself, brother.
I believe myself. I'm going to. All right, this works. I guess the optimization piece. I mean, I probably should just throw this in CodeWars first before I even start thinking about this. Make sure that they like it. So let me just copy all this and paste it in, and just do like the test part of it, and see if they sending requests. I passed the first test. I'm attempting the other ones, and I failed 2 tests. All right, I'm gonna copy this and paste this in, bro. This is what I'm getting back. This is the error message. So fix min. Oh.
What did it say you failed for?
So I'm actually, let me just, that's too much there. Let me just, so that's the first one I got wrong. It says fix min. Expected 0 to equal 1.
What?
On line 92.
Line 92?
Yeah. That's the, I just pasted the error that I got back.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming it's for min, the min function. So I'm thinking that maybe because I assigned.
All right, for some reason you got, but what thing was this for? What was the use case?
That's the thing, like they don't like give me.
They don't have it like on the bottom right hand corner where it has like all the test cases and shit?
Yeah, the initial ones, like the first 3 or 4, but like the hidden ones, they don't like when I run it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's the part I don't like, but.
So no, like the 0 to equal 1.
Yeah.
0, but you gave 1.
I'm assuming like the array they passed in, 1 was the minimum, so like I can probably replicate it here. I'm gonna try to like.
You pressed test or attempt?
I did both. The test part.
When you press test, it worked.
Yeah, all the tests passed, like the sample test. But when I hit attempt, that's when the like hidden test that we don't see. So I'm thinking like they may have something in here that says like, I don't know, like 10, 5, and 1. Like 1 is supposed to be the minimum, and I'm guessing.
Well, they said they expected 0, but they got. Wait, no. They got 0, but what the fuck does this mean?
I think
expected equal 1. Yeah, I think they expect.
Yeah, I gave them 0, but they wanted 1.
They wanted 1.
I think.
So what in your thing gives you 0? Oh, yeah, you have min number equals 0. What's that? Why is that? Where you get that?
I got that because I copy and pasted here.
When was max number equals 0? When did you write that?
I sent it to 0 back. So line 49, I did that, and then in the pseudocode, I did that as well.
You didn't have that in the pseudocode?
No, I didn't.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, take that out.
So it'll be like that. Like line 49 just be kind of like a hanging variable with no assignment, right? Basically. Yeah. All right. So let me go back and take that out. Oh man. No. Oh, expected undefined to equal 1. So now I'm getting
So that was a good what you call it. So this brings me back to what I said earlier about like why I didn't really agree with number to compare.
Okay.
This brings me back to why I did.
Yo, before you continue, like it didn't pass, by the way. I don't know if you heard me.
No, yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah, I heard the error. It said because there was an undefined, right?
Yeah.
Right. So this brings me back to why I didn't necessarily agree with number to compare, right?
Okay.
Because if you look at this line right here, right, you're assigning like the same value to 2 different variables. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you could just use 1 variable.
Gotcha.
You feel me?
Okay.
So for some reason num like it, I don't know. I also don't understand. Oh yeah. I understand why. So it's probably happening on the case where it's why didn't that show up for 5 actually? Oh yeah, I know why. But anyway, no, actually, it'd be easier to show you. Run this line again in yours, and we can walk through what's happening because this should give you undefined as well.
All right, so let me just comment on some of this stuff. So this line, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me see. It gives me 5 because I'm catching it up front. All right.
Oh, you're catching that one up front. What the fuck?
I guess.
Then why? All right. So in what case would that fucking? All right. So anyway, I'm not really fucking sure why it's happening. But anyway, to get back to my point or whatever, something's I don't know in what case it's happening, but something's happening where this condition is never like being true, right? For some reason I don't know whatever, right? And then you're returning an undefined number. But what I'm trying to say is like you don't necessarily need to have this variable because you can just start it like just say this is the minimum. You know what I mean? Like just say what your first one is the minimum, and then you can continue checking, and then return whatever the minimum is. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah.
So that goes back to the point that I noticed too. That I guess originally why I wrote this is because I had the idea of starting it at index 2 to compare it to.
You can still do that and everything, right? Because you would still need minimum to start from somewhere, right? You still need to start like what I'm saying is like min num and number to compare are like the same variable.
Yeah.
You know.
Gotcha.
Like they're the same variable. You're always gonna make sure that you compare the minimum number against the current number. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Like you're even comparing them. You're even assigning them the same number in this line. You know.
Okay.
Like you don't need number.
So you're suggesting, all right, so as far as like refactoring this, that like this is kind of like redundant to have that, and then like this line too, because I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So if I were to,
as long as you start min num the same way you started number to compare, you know what I mean?
Okay. So this, I still need to do this then, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
When I start the loop and again to my logic, I'm comparing 42 kind of to it itself, but it doesn't really matter, right? Because it doesn't hurt because I'm only doing this loop once. All right.
Yeah.
Ooh, what did I do here? Reference number to compare is not defined. So I need to change some things here. If current num, so I need to change this to min num. Okay, let me run this real quick. 5 and 0. Where'd I get 5 from? All right, so let me fix this. And this will be max num and num to equal. You was killing flies, right? When you was clapping?
Oh, well, yeah, son.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had some D'Angelo playing in the background.
Oh, man. I think I got it. Let me just run some tests. I just refactored it. 5. That works. Okay. So I'm gonna recopy this and paste this back into CodeWars. But I see your logic. I think I did. I don't know why I made that harder than what it needs to be, but it's part of the process, I guess.
Yeah, I thought you added, you added that extra variable because you said yourself you like it to be read out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was cool though.
That's why I didn't want to tell you no, because I thought and it did. It helped you figure out where the numbers belong and shit.
So yeah, passed. So I'm good with the kind of long, naive way. But thank you, man. That was a good catch. That was very helpful.
Yeah, no problem, brother.
All right, so let me just clean this up a little bit. What was the other way you was thinking? Using one of those max and min array methods?
Actually, yeah, I'm not even sure if it. Let me check if JavaScript has a max. I think they do. Yeah, they do. They did have a max function. It's math. Capital M math dot max. You could have done it like that.
And that's it, right? It's like a one-liner.
Yeah, that would have been a one-liner. The one I thought of. Yeah, let me what you call it? I'll put. Oh yeah, optimizations. Yeah, that one on line 99.
Okay, you got it. All right, bet.
Yeah. Another way I was thinking, the first way I was thinking of, was sorting the array, and then just getting the, either again the last one or the first one. So array sort, and then they sort the number for you, and then if you want the last one, it's pop. No, pop is last, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I always look that shit up because I always forget.
Yeah, pop is last and unshift is
the first.
Yeah. So if you want the max, you would just get the last one, and then you unshift for the minimum.
Fire. I didn't even think about sorting it. That would make it so much easier. Yeah. So
this one is the most optimized. It's just one language.
Yeah. Let me so math out max, and then it just passing lists basically. Right? So let me just do a sample real quick. Put that down here. Let me just comment this out. Not a number. Why is not a number? Am I missing something here? Oh, I need to comment out this function. Maybe that's why. Run that again. Interesting.
Wait, Holly, I'm gonna try it in the console. Why would it give you not a number?
Math.max. Is that how to use it? Is that the way I should be using it?
Oh yeah, it's giving me not a number either.
Let me look. Math.max. Is it array.max or is it math.max?
No, it's math.max. I tried it with weird. Wait, what the fuck? I tried it with smaller numbers. Do you know what's up with it?
I think you could use it that spread. You spread the operator out. 'Cause I'm passing it as a direct array. Maybe it wants a spread. So something like let me see the way they have it. Array math.max. So if I'm passing it here. I don't know. Let me try that.
Oh wait a minute. Maybe wait, hold on. Maybe we're using max the wrong way actually.
It worked.
It worked?
Yeah, I'm taking the array and
okay. So it takes in parameters as that's dumb.
Yeah.
Why the fuck was it not taking a list?
Yeah, the direct data structure of an array of a list. I guess it wants to spread it out, so it has a spread as an example. I didn't know that. That's my first time. Yeah, I don't use the.
Both learn something new together.
Word. I don't use the spread as much. The store is cool. I try that another time. That makes total sense. Just how comfortable are you determining time complexities?
I mean, I feel like I know the basis. I don't do it in my everyday job and shit. I just make sure to use as least loops as I can. But I don't know the logs and shit like that. I just know the n squared and n cubed and shit like that. Cause that's just how many loops are within itself.
Yeah. It's funny that you said that because that's what frustrates me. I'm like, why I gotta go through this if in the day job you don't even use it at all? But
what is there anywhere asking you to say to give the time complexity of a specific problem?
When I interview,
yeah, they're asking you what is the time complexity?
Yeah, 3 times already.
Where the fuck are you interviewing? That's it?
No, it's I don't want to put it out because I'm a posters, but. Just offline. I'll tell you offline, but.
Are you on posters?
Yeah.
Yo, son, keep those shit.
I'm gonna try to sound out the you killing the flies.
Yo, it's summertime. It's a lot of mosquitoes.
Yo, word. Like we live in the Bronx, so man, mosquitoes.
But yeah, I don't see why. Yeah, I don't see why they would ask you what's the time complexity. I mean, other than like n squared, and you know how many nested loops you have. That would be like 2 nested loops is an n squared, and so on and so forth. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if they ask you anything about log and shit like that, that's dumb.
Yeah.
But you're looking for front end shit too.
Yeah. And that's
the fuck is the front end?
Exactly, that's the thing. Like, one out of the 3 was a software engineering job, so I kind of understood where they were going with the whole question. And I'm like, bro, I don't know, bro. Like, I never went through this during college. Like, I did communications. I was like TV and audio, radio, editing videos and shit. But
all of the shit I learned in college, I completely it's gone. I don't use it anywhere. I don't even think about it. Like,
all right. Just for like explanation purposes, do you have a little time for me to like just to kind of go over the way I've been doing it? Yeah, okay. Again, you know, if I do get a question, so I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna do the min. I guess do it right under here. Right to your point. Yeah, I don't know why they ask me these questions. If I'm not gonna be using them, but this is kind of the recipe I've been using, and I had to kind of scrap to learn this myself because I know the basics like the linears and the constants and the quadratic times. The nested loops and the log of n, I think is the other one I know when working like with a binary search tree, like, you know, cutting the tree in half and things like that. But the call to outside, this is kind of like the recipe I've been using. So this is doesn't really mean anything like if you were to sound it out, but each of these means something. So function call to outside, operations. I learned this through some YouTube video, bro, to be honest. Comparison loops and pointer reference. I'm gonna kill this terminal.
What the fuck are you doing?
Huh?
Pointers are like C and shit like that.
Yo,
C++. Nobody uses pointers anymore.
Yeah, so that's why. So I rarely, when I use this recipe here, I rarely don't use. I'm like, what is that? Like, and I always ignore it. But I added in there, and I may just start deleting it, to be honest. So with that being said, I'm gonna just make my life easier and leave it at that, right? So the way I kind of envision it, the way I'm learning it is to say like, what are the things that is gonna, as my data grows, like once the list grows, like what's gonna slow down the code, basically. Right, so like, as my code grows, as my data grows, which code is gonna slow it down? You know, and that's the thing I focus on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like function calls to outside would do that. Operations, I'm assuming that's like plus equals or doing some sort of math, I guess. Mm-hmm. I don't know what comparison means. When I think about comparisons, I think about this, like comparing this list, something like that. Like
that's what I would assume.
Right. As well. And loops is the big one, right? So that's the one thing that says like big O is about like determining how my code slows as my data grows. Like that's the kind of like the rhyme I've been going with. What I've been doing is like identifying these things. Like, is there a function call to the outside? So are there any methods I'm calling in this thing?
Well, what do you mean by function called to outside?
So if I had like say if the sort wasn't here, if I use that sort, if I had that sort, like say in this implementation I had sort somewhere in here, like that is like I'm calling a method, right? Like that's a function call. So that like slows, because it adds to the stack and it slows down the time, because I have to sort something and iterate through something of some sort, and that'll like eventually like slow, depending how big the array is, that'll slow down the timing of this function. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's at least that's how I understood it. Does that like sound about right?
No, yeah, because of those built-in functions, you know, we don't necessarily know how they're implemented.
Yeah.
Like I guess you can look it up to see, but yeah. Like a sort is always gonna need to use a loop, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, and that's what I do. Like if I don't know, I'd look it up and I'd be like, what's the worst case scenario? Like you get a big ass list and you gotta sort it. That's like linear, because you have to go through each index and sort everything at the worst case. And that's kind of like the way I've been learning it. But just moving on real quick, I know because this part is like kind of still new to me, but there's no function calls to outside, so I'll move on. The operations part, kind of a mathematical thing, like adding or appending things. I don't see that. That's at least that's how I understood it. Comparisons, I don't see how that would slow anything down in this case. I'm still trying to understand that too when it comes to time complexity. If you have any thoughts, then let me know. But the last one is like the biggest one I would like probably focus on is like the loop.
Yeah, but yeah, out of all those things, I feel like loops are the main thing that slows it down. I can't see adding numbers type of slow down.
Right.
Unless you were to set a loop to add 1 million numbers, you know.
So loops will happen n times. I don't know how to identify that, but I'm just gonna say n loops will happen n times depending on n being the list. Like the list could be this long as array, or it could be 1. It could be short. I'm gonna say that in the worst case, we don't have any of these things happening. They're like these I don't want to call these like these attributes or whatever of this recipe are not happening, and it's not going to slow the code down because they're not happening, but this loop is happening, and that'll slow the code down. So that's the thing I'm going to focus on and be like, yo, this time complexity is going to be O of n, basically. It's going to be linear, because the for loop could happen, iterate over the list, and that could be whatever, really long or really short. At its worst case, it could be like 1,000 elements if we had to do that. That's kind of like the way I've been doing it, bro, to be honest. And like in the event that there was more things in here in this implementation, like other sort method calls or some like a reduce, if I had a reduce in here or something like that, then I would like add that somewhere in here under this recipe and start like plugging away and trying to find like the worst case scenario out of all those 3 or 4 things if we had more like methods in here, like reduces and sorts and things like that. It's kind of like mad extra work, and it's annoying as hell because I just don't feel like I'm gonna be using this at all, to be honest, when I do get my job.
Yeah.
But just for the sake of like when I interview, like, I get these weird questions sometimes. It's only been 3 out of like, I interviewed like over 30 times already, and I only got it 3 or 4 times. I'm just shedding some light, bro. Just showing you the way I've been kind of.
That's the time complexity I always strive for is O of n. You know, like how can if I do have to run a loop, I try not to run any loop. If I do have to run a loop, how can I just run this loop once? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I also been doing I've been trying to figure out how to use hash maps or like objects to keep it at a constant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I usually do. Like I do everything that could have been a loop, I just turn it into an object, and that like usually solves that problem.
Yeah, I think offline I'm gonna probably like when I'm done here with you, I'm gonna like try to redo this, see if I can use like an object and try to like not iterate through anything, but. We'll see.
I don't think you'll be able to do that.
Yeah, right, because it's a list of numbers, so you have to kind of go through the whole list.